Here we are, guys. It's exit day, and I am pulling the trailer out of the spot at Eagle Nest, and I'm heading to Pahrump. It's a rainy, nasty day, unfortunately. Here's a tip that I've not put in a video that I need to start putting into videos, and that is this. Check your weather on departure day. Look at the forecast. I might have stayed another day. I might have stayed another day, but everything was all packed up and I was ready to go, and I'm like, I'm gonna go. And we're leaving a little bit earlier than I thought, just because there's a big rainstorm coming, and I need to go through a mountain pass. Going into Taos, and I don't want to do that when it's raining terribly, although it's pretty bad right now. But the forecast says it's going to get worse, so I don't know. I'm just going. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to drive slow. I got my lights on. I've checked everything off. You know what, guys? Oh, all right. I wasn't seeing the lights on the trailer. The lights are on the trailer. I did check in the back last night before I left, but I looked in the side view mirror and didn't see the light, but it wasn't angled right. So I angled it. I'm good. I'm lit up like a Christmas tree. And I'll show you a little bit through the pass, and then I'll pick up when I'm beyond Taos and on my way west. Going to be on Interstate 40 when I get over there. So here I am. And let me just give you, how about if I give you a last look at Eagle Nest Village? I don't think I've ever driven through Eagle Nest when it was raining. Well, you know what, guys? I already am gonna need to make a little stop here. Because I had a little problem with one of the sensors for my tire, and it finally started working, and it's at 41 psi. So it's low, and I'm not liking that. It's like 4 below everything else. So I'm gonna pump it up, and if it loses any pressure on the way to Taos, I'll stop in Taos and get it repaired or replaced or changed. So hang on. Well, guys, I am on my way again, and I have learned 2 more valuable lessons. Let me adjust this a little bit for RV life today. So I told you about weather. You know, and the weather forecast was terrible. It wasn't supposed to start raining until like 11:30, and here we are. It's 8:52, and it's just pouring. These are terrible conditions to be taking this drive. So it's complicated now that I've left. I really don't have I don't have much of a choice here. So because it looks like on the weather map it's just going to get worse. So the other thing I learned was I always check my tire pressures, and I got lazy this time because I have a tire pressure monitor and 3 out of the 4 tires were showing pretty much perfect pressure for being real cold and wet in the morning. And the 4th one wasn't reading at all. And generally that means the battery's out. I tried reseating it, and then I put on the battery, and it just didn't, it wasn't reading. It wasn't correcting the problem. So instead of checking the tire pressure on that last tire, hang on, I have to turn on the defroster, I'm getting foggy. Manually, I just said, I'm sure it's fine. Okay? I'm sure it's fine is not a good phrase to use in RV life. So lucky for me, as I was coming through Eagle Nest, it suddenly connected, and it was 5 psi below everybody else. That's not a good sign. There's got to be there's not a good reason for 1 out of 4 tires to lose pressure like that. So what I'm gonna do is I pulled over, and well, just to, so you're not, there's no suspense. It's back up. It's equal to the others. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm only going about 17 miles to Taos, and if it loses pressure by the time I get to Taos, I'm going to do something about either getting, go to a tire shop, getting it fixed, swapping it out. If I have to, I'll stay the night. I'll stay the night in Taos. But here's the second lesson I learned. So I went out of my way to make this little kit in a milk crate in the back of my truck that has all my road problem equipment, including jacks and safety equipment and all kinds of things, including the battery operated tire inflator. Here's the mistake I made. I can get to that crate easily by pulling down the tailgate, kind of climbing up on the tailgate, reaching in and getting it. But I didn't think that when you need this, you're going to be attached to your trailer, and you can't put the tailgate all the way down and climb up the tailgate. I couldn't reach it. So I had to do some gymnastic and pull stuff out, move stuff around, just to get at that piece of equipment, which in the last lesson, the battery attached to it was dead. And I've talked about this before, and I did charge my big battery, and all I had to do was swap it with my big battery, and I'm fine. I've got plenty of charged batteries, but there was no reason not to make sure that third battery, it's a small one attached to the air pump, was charged and ready to go. There's no reason for it, other than, anyway, I hope you take these lessons from me so you don't make these mistakes yourself. So far, Dottie's a little curious looking at me because she's not used to riding around in the rain. We don't do it unless we have to, so it's a little weird for her, but she's in a good mood. And George seems pretty well sedated, so I will catch you when there's something to see other than a rainy road. So I have the feeling that a lot of this travel videos for the next 3 days are going to be random snippets of me stuck in traffic or stopped somewhere like I am. There's one-way traffic through this pass into Taos, and I'm just sitting here parked with everybody else, and I got nothing to do other than to talk to you. So what do I want to talk about? The lessons that I told you I learned. I'm a pretty intelligent guy, and I'm experienced. And look at the mistakes I made today. So I'm going to confess to another one that potentially is a mistake, and you will find out by the end of this trip whether this was a mistake or not. But I'm taking a risk, that's for sure. I'm definitely taking a risk. Yesterday, as I started the truck to hook it up, I had just taken a drive the day before. I hooked it up and the brake line came on as if the parking brake was on. The parking brake was on. Then a message came up, check brake system. And that light's still on. There's no engine warning because I have an app where I can, I've got a little module in there that I can read. There's nothing. So I researched it and researched it by looking up online what that error means, what are the conditions it could signify. And I also took the truck for a test drive and tested the brakes out as thoroughly as I could. And there's no indication from what I can tell that there's anything wrong with the brakes. And my research tells me, first thing, check there's a brake fluid sensor. So I checked the brake fluid. The brake fluid is fine. Then it says, pump the brake inside on the pedal and make sure there's pressure, that it doesn't go all the way to the floor. That means you would have a lower brake pressure. And so none of those things checked out. So it turns out that it's very common for that fluid sensor to fail and need to be replaced, or something happened to the connection. So I'm being very careful, and I get it that I'm towing a vehicle in the mountains with something potentially wrong with the brakes. To be safe, I should have just postponed my departure and found a mechanic someplace and gotten it checked out today or tomorrow. And I wouldn't recommend to anyone to do what I'm doing on this trip. I would postpone the trip, recommend postponing the trip and getting it checked out. So I'm not being a very good example today, am I? But I'm telling you how it is and what's going on. And but I will tell you, if I touch the brakes and I sense anything is amiss, I'm gonna, if it's bad, I'm gonna pull over and get towed. If it's just anything that seems amiss, I'm gonna find the closest mechanic and drive there. And if I have to spend a night or two in some little town between here and Pahrump, so be it. But I will give you a report on the tire pressure. It's been it's been a little while. It's been at least 30 minutes, and the reading has gone actually up a little bit. And a couple others have too. As you get driving, when your tires are cold, and the pressure will rise up as you're driving because the temperature will increase. And it looks like the line is moving, so I will see you when there's either I'm bored and I want to talk to you, or there's something to show you on the road. Take care. Oh, one more thing to note. Now that the traffic's moving through this pass, you're thinking, you're doing this with maybe a tire problem and a brake problem going through this mountain pass? Well, it's not as bad as you think. It is a mountain pass, and it could be treacherous, but it's one-way construction, and there's a pilot car, and we go in a convoy very, very slowly. So if something happens, I'm going to be okay. So don't worry. So hey guys, I made it through the mountain pass easily. No issues with the brakes. Oddly enough, 2 other tires stopped broadcasting, so when I next stop, I'll have to replace the batteries in those. But the tire I was worried about, solid as a rock, not a problem. Now, here's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking some of you may be listening to what I've been saying and what I've been doing, and some of you may be a little upset with me, especially about the brake light issue and me taking what any reasonable person would legitimately say is an unnecessary risk. And maybe an unnecessary risk for me and other people on the road. You know, now that I think about that, you know, if it was serious enough where I lost my brakes, I could hurt somebody else, right? Well, here's what, if you're upset and you're thinking, boy, I'd love to tell him how I feel, but he'll, you know, he doesn't like negative comments, he'll block it or delete it, or I won't. This is free pass on this one. If you're upset with me over the decisions that I made in an example that I've set here, then the forum is yours on the comments, and I will answer yes ma'am or yes sir, and maybe neither if I'm not sure about the gender, but my attitude will be yes ma'am, yes sir. And it's not a license, and I don't think any of you need to hear this, but I'll say it anyway, for like really vulgar stuff. No, that's no good. But being legit, I think it's legitimate to be maybe a little angry at me for the decisions that I've made today. I will say that I have very good confidence in the brakes going through that mountain pass, going down very steep corners and a lot of braking, and I really do think it's a connection or a sensor, a brake fluid sensor itself, or a connection to it coming loose or corroded. That's what I believe, and I will stand by my, if I detect anything unusual whatsoever, I will get it taken care of, even if it means delaying the trip a day or two. And also no other new brake indicators on the engine light system, so nothing there. So thought I'd share that with you. And there's nothing really interesting to see on the road. It's just a straight rural road, rainy, gray, yuck. I'll see you in a little while. Check this out. I had to stop and do 2 back-to-back Zoom meetings, and this is where I really had to pull over. That's kind of in the middle of this canyon with no cell phone signal. So look what I did. I just put out the Starlink and did my meetings, and now I'm good. Pretty neat thing, and pretty rainy. It's the same spot, this beautiful river. Check that out. Can imagine what this looks like when the weather's nice. That was a pretty remarkable experience, stopping there and having 2 back-to-back Zoom meetings. So I certainly didn't plan to be in this amazing place. So the plan was, you know, normally before I realized Starlink was really so easily deployed, I would have to plan out, I need to be someplace with a really good AT&T cell signal. And, you know, really I think it was the first time on this trip I realized, you know, you really don't have to concern yourself with that, because you can just pull over somewhere and you can pull your Starlink dish out, hook it up, use your batteries and your inverter, and do it. So I knew when the meeting was supposed to start, and I was in this beautiful place, and there were all these pull-offs with beautiful views. There's another one right here. They're everywhere. So that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. I'll show you a little bit of what it looks like. I mean, it's a little boring only because it's raining, but check this out. And kind of, you can get an idea of how spectacular this is, though. And it, and just so you know, that's my my cycling on my TPMS to check the tire, and that tire pressure is just fine, so there's no leak Why it got down like that, I have no idea. It's a little bit of a mystery. But the tires are good. The brakes are just, I mean, there's no indication whatsoever that there's any problem with the brakes. So tires check, brakes check. Dottie's been sound asleep. George has been chilling. George hasn't gotten sick at all, so that's good. So it is about 12:30 p.m. and I'll probably drive until around 4 o'clock, I would say. At 4 o'clock, I'll look for an RV park. I'll turn the camera back on, and I'll show you where we're staying for the night. And then we'll be at it again tomorrow. Right now, according to the GPS, 736 miles to go. So we're not that far into this. So hopefully we can, say 3.5 hours. I'd be very happy if we knocked 200 miles off today. So that would bring us down to a little over 500 miles to go. Do another, maybe it'd be nice to do 300 tomorrow, and then 200 just the home stretch getting into Pahrump on Wednesday. We'll just see how the weather is, how I'm feeling. See you when I come back. I just thought I needed to turn this back on so you could see this stretch. It's pretty amazing. You see the river down on the right. It is pouring rain, yeah. It's a little tension filled, but I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of it too. You see the yellow sign up here. The left side of the road is steep, and they definitely get a lot of rock falling. And I would think that it's particularly susceptible to it when it's raining like this for a long time. But you can see piles of huge rocks by the side of the road that come down that mountain. It's amazing. And I'm gonna guess, look here on the right, that there's some good fishing in that river. So I saw a sign, if anybody knows what it is, it's said annual Dixon Studio Tour, annual tradition, I think November 2nd. And I'm wondering what the Dixon Studio is. Is it an old studio for shooting Western movies or something? I don't know. If anybody knows what that is, let me know. So the town that we're coming up on, in a few miles, is Espanola, and then after that it'll be Santa Fe, and then I believe I'm going to have to. I think Santa Fe is where I'll get on the interstate, and I think I'm going to be forced to drive through my least favorite place to drive through in New Mexico, and that's Albuquerque. But we'll survive it. We'll get beyond Albuquerque, and somewhere beyond Albuquerque, heading towards Arizona, we'll stop for the night. Well, here we are, guys.
Take the exit on the right to I-25 South toward Albuquerque.
Thank you, Garmin. We're in Santa Fe, and we're hitting the interstate. So we'll go to Albuquerque, my least favorite place to drive in New Mexico. I got nothing against the town. Lovely town. I just hate the traffic. I've not had a good experience at all. I don't know if there are any big cities I like driving my trailer through. So, no insult to you, Albuquerque. Love you. I'll see you in a little while. So here I am on the interstate, and I was getting a little bored, and I'm thinking, what could I talk about? And I came up with something, and that is two very different ways of doing this lifestyle. I've evolved into one, and there is certainly another, and some of my friends embrace the other. And here's mine, is I have right now 3 places that I like to be. Pahrump, Nevada, Quartzsite, Arizona, and now Eagle Nest, New Mexico. So here's how it's going to go for the next year. leaving Eagle Nest today. I'm heading to Pahrump. I will be in Pahrump until probably the second week of November. I'll go to Quartzsite, and I'll stay in Quartzsite to first or second week of March, depending on the weather. If it gets too hot, I'll leave sooner. I'll go back to Pahrump, hang out there until the end of May, and I'll go back out to Eagle Nest to arrive on June 1st, and I'll stay there until September 30th, around this time, maybe a little later. So that is, I'm a nomad, but I'm only hopping to 3 specific places, and I have a love for all 3 of these places for different reasons. Then I have friends that they just keep moving. Now, many of them may hang out in Quartzsite for an extended period of time, a couple of months or whatever, but many of them continue to move from place to place to place. Pardon me. They explore, and I think that's wonderful. I think that if I had a lot of money, I might get a really nice camper van, and I might do a little of that myself. What a thing I abhor is setting up and breaking down camp with my trailer. It's getting more and more difficult as I get older, and more time consuming and more physically exhausting. But with the camper van, you really don't have to do that. And maybe a little Class C would kind of be the same thing, but it's more of a production to move a Class C around. A camper van, you get a small enough one, it fits in a regular parking spot. And I will admit that there certainly are places as I drive, like today, that I wouldn't mind pulling in there and seeing what that's all about. But with the trailer, you could get in trouble so easily in a tight spot that you just, I don't do it unless I know exactly that where I'm going, that there's room for me to park, or more importantly, there's easy room for me to turn around. Because you're talking to a guy that's got caught on a road and could not, a dead end road, and I could not turn around. A truck driver came out and sort of talked me through it. And I actually had to drive up on the curb to get around, but I was jackknifing. It looked like a big wide space where I could turn around, but it wasn't. So that's the two ways that you can do it. The other thing is you can decide, I'm in love with Quartzsite, Arizona, and I'm gonna be there year round. When I get my Pahrump, when I get my the Escapees pair of dice RV park, when I buy into that, I could stay there year round permanently. And when I get older, I may do that. I keep talking about this because I'm so excited about the idea. I'm on the waiting list there, and it's going to take a couple years for me to get to the top and get a lot. But when I do, they will allow a park model, which is a big trailer that is very comfortable, that is not really designed to be hopping around. They call them park models or destination models, where they're essentially under 400 square feet, and there's a tongue and wheels, and it's designed to stay. And I think that I can, if I'm patient and smart, I can get a nice used one in Pahrump, and I can put that in my spot, and I'll keep this trailer. And certainly when I go to Pahrump, I can park the trailer. It's part of the deal. You can park your RV for free and store it and live in the big trailer in the park model. So I can do that in the spring, in what I call the shoulder seasons, the spring and in the fall. Then when I get to the point where, look, I really don't want to be moving anymore, I can settle down in Pahrump year round. I'd rather, Eagle Nest would be better, except it's at 9,000 feet in almost Colorado. So winters might be a little rough. But I saw a beautiful little lot there, 1 acre yacht lot with utilities and easy walk into the village for $50,000. And it'd be nice to have a little house there. Beautiful view of the valley and the lake, and walk to the village. But it snows and it gets really cold in the winter. And it's funny that property looked like it'd been on the market for a while, and I did 2 or 3 videos on it, and it's sold. I don't know if there's a connection or not, but it's sold. It's gone. So $50,000 gets you the land, and about almost 5,000 gets the utilities hooked up, water, sewer, and electric. It's right there, but it's still thousands of dollars for whatever reason. But then you have to build a 1,400 square foot home that is approved by the association in the neighborhood. So you can't do a manufactured home. You can't do a tiny house. You have to do a real 1,400 square foot home, well designed and well built. And, that's at least between $250,000 and $300,000. If this is a big if in this area, is getting a builder to build it there. There's people that I've heard about that have had to wait a couple of years for a builder to actually build a new home for them up there. So, and hey, I don't have 250. I don't even have $50,000, much less what's that total, $300,000 to $350,000 total out of pocket. Not this cowboy. But anyway, I love Eagle. I love everything about summer in Eagle Nest, and I can't wait to go back on June 1st next year. So anyway, so you have the three, basically, there's there's 3 ways. There's doing what I do, maybe pick 3 different areas that I move to, rotate to. Or there's the way where you're just going to keep moving every couple of weeks, every week. In some cases, every day. They just keep going. Look at a really great channel, Nikki Delventhal. She has a camper van. She started in a Prius, built her channel up diligently, got her enough income so she got a custom-made camper van. She's got 2 dogs, and she moves pretty much constantly and has a great time doing it. She's got a great channel. Very good, very young woman with a very positive attitude, very smart. But she moves constantly. And then you can have the people that, hey, I'm going to get an RV, but I'm just going to stay put in the RV park with the people in the town that I like. 3 different ways to do this thing. See you down the road. Maybe the next time I turn it on will be when we find an RV park. Nah, probably not. There'll probably be something before that. So I complained about it, so I figured I'd show it to you. We're coming into Albuquerque. We're about 6 miles out from the turn off 25 to 40. And as you can see, there's a lot of traffic. I'm always a little on edge, pulling the trailer through high speed. I say high speed, I'm doing 50. It's a 50 and a 65 because we get a little traffic jam action happening here. See, it's not even rush hour. You don't want to do this during rush hour. It's only 2:30 in the afternoon. So you can imagine how bad it can get early in the morning, 7:30 to 9, 7:30 to 10, and 4 to 6. So this is, other than the middle of the night, this is probably the best time to go through here. And I can testify to the fact that many people, if not most RVers, get a little nervous pulling their rig or driving their big rig through congested areas like this. You're not able to respond as fast as you do in a regular vehicle. changing lanes can be risky business when you got a Ford F-150 pickup truck that's about 20 feet long, and then a couple feet back in back of that you get another 21 feet of trailer. We're talking 40 feet, and it's especially hard in areas that you're not familiar with, where you might be confronted with, hey, I'm in the wrong lane and I need to get over quick or I'm going to miss my exit. My advice there, when that happens, miss the exit. Just drive by, even if you got to drive 10 miles to turn around. And that's happened to me before, more than once. It's happened. I had to drive almost 10 miles out of the way to get to the next exit to turn around and go back and try it again. But it sure is better than having an accident. I can guarantee you that. And you can see Albuquerque's not a little tiny town at all, is it? Albuquerque's a big place. It's a busy town. Got some construction maybe happening up here. When you see a lot of orange. What does this say up here? It says right lane only. That's always a joy too, when you're cruising along 50, 60 miles an hour in heavy traffic, pulling your trailer like that guy is. This is what I'm talking about. He had to quick get over in front of me, and he was fortunate because I was leaving a ton of room and he knew I was going slow, so he got over. But that can be frustrating when suddenly out of nowhere, because this is exit only and I don't want to exit and I got to move over. Again, you're not as nimble as a regular vehicle. You need plenty of room between vehicles to get over. And here, when stuff like this happens, you're going 50 and suddenly you're stopped. And you hope that the guy behind you sees you and doesn't slam into you. Did you see how quickly that happened? You see that, I don't know if you can read the name. I guess it's the brand name on the back of that fifth wheel in front of me. It's called Vengeance. Not a very kind brand name. Vengeance. I saw a front of a Class A. I don't even know if it was real. With AI, you never know. But the front of it was this molded plastic high gloss paint, a skull, and it looked terrifying. But there's a 50-50 chance I was looking at an AI generated image and not an actual custom RV, but who knows? You never know. And then I like these when you come to a complete stop, you never quite get a full explanation of what happened and why the traffic just suddenly came to a stop. It just happened. And we're less than 2 miles from the turn. And as I recall, you feel like, okay, I'm going to get an I-40 going west and things are going to be great. But I think there's a lot more city to go through.
1.5 miles, take exit 226AB on the right toward I-40 West.
You get guys like this pass you on the right, zoom in there in a convertible. We're in the city. That's not going to happen in Eagle Nest. I guarantee you that. Maybe in Pahrump, though. Pahrump is hazardous driving. I can tell you that. I love Pahrump, but the driving is, there's a lot of fast-moving vehicles, a lot of car accidents. Pahrump, you got to be on your toes driving around Pahrump. And Gallup, I-40 west, 1 mile. That's where we're going. We're going to Gallup to Gallup. Right, Dottie? Dottie's sitting up now, getting kind of bored. You've been sleeping all day, haven't you? She says, yes, I have. And George is still zonked. That sedative that I give George for travel days will last about 8 hours. And it'll probably wear off just about the time we get to our stop for the night. And which is good because it's a smooth, straight road. And it's in the mountains where he gets sick.
Take exit 226 AB on the right toward I-40 west, then keep right.
I see Vengeance up there. Is Vengeance going to Gallup? No, Vengeance is going to Santa Rosa. And you can see that the weather has cleared up. We have blue skies and puffy clouds. No more rain. I'm glad that's behind us. Although there is something a little bit comforting about driving in the rain. You know, when it's safe. We feel safe, kind of cozy. And that was a pretty wild deal, stopping in that canyon and setting up the Starlink and doing my meetings. That was great. All right, well, you see,
on I-40.
You're hoping we're out of Albuquerque, but as you can see, not so much, not really. There's still a lot of Albuquerque left to go. Now this one, I like this sign up here. It says lane ends 500 feet, so that's plenty of warning for me to get the whole kit and caboodle over in the lane here, so I feel relaxed. And we'll get around the corner here and we'll cut this off because it's going to start getting kind of boring because we are getting to less city, more suburb as we go around the corner here. So we made it through Albuquerque without any major traffic incidents. That's a good thing. I'll see you maybe when we stop for the night, maybe before, who knows. Okay, this is worth seeing on I-40, and pretty much made up my mind I'm going to stay in Gallup tonight. It's about 90 miles away, right off I-40 here, but look at this. Isn't this amazing? This is the American West. Quintessential New Mexico. Pretty neat stuff. So here we are in Gallup, New Mexico. And I've stayed here before, and the RV park is called USA RV Park. And as much as I'd like to try a new one, I'm tired, and I know I like this place. So that's where we're going. And I'm hesitating here because I'm having a hard time seeing oncoming traffic. And that's no bueno.
When possible, make a U-turn. Then
Oh, you
take
can
the
hear
first
that.
left.
Make a U-turn. The Garmin is objecting to my stop. So I'm going to turn Garmin off. And we will continue it tomorrow morning. Just so you know, I've gone 298.5 miles, and I need to keep my my eye out here because it's coming up quick, I think. I see Nights Inn and Suites, and I seem to remember it's like right next to that. It's or close to it. So I've gone about 300 miles, and I've got 11 miles to the gallon, which is not bad. Towing your home around for 11 miles to the gallon, I'm going to call that pretty good. And it feels like it should be coming up really quickly here. And this is on, I see a lot of Route 66 signs. In a quarter-mile turn right. It's on the right side, not the left side, Rob. And how do I know that? Because I have earphones on, and it's telling me, and I see it right up here. And I don't have reservations, but I'm going to assume this is not the busy time of year for them. And here is USA RV Park. And I did try to call diligently, but I couldn't get through. They're too busy. So we will see. I'm going to be pretty surprised. And this is on actual, we can get our kicks here because we're on Route 66. So we are welcome to get our kicks. Let's see what the sign says. I know the office is to the left. So I can pull up here. And I think I can just stop right in the middle here. And I will be right back with the end of this video. So I got a site. It was like 48 bucks with tax. Very, very reasonable. I could have saved $2 by having only water and electric, but for $2 I'll get full hookups. Take a nice hot shower tonight. Drain the gray water tank. I asked to be close, and she said, I will take care of you. So we'll go around here, and it's going to be the second row. That's the first row he's going down. So it's the second row, and it's site 20. See how easy peasy this is. One, two, three. So it's a few. It's down here a ways. It's like 6th from the end. And I bet it's right next to this Class C. And it is. It's right next to this nice Class C. So we will pull in here. Well, guys, I made it. I'm at my spot. I'm going to hook things up, bring the kitties inside, and upload this video so you'll have it tomorrow morning. I will see you tomorrow morning with the comments, video, this video, and a positive news story for the day. Take care.